for Leominster, 612345.
Perhaps because the case received so much national publicity over the last week, the phones here have been surprisingly much quieter than we'd anticipated on the case of James Bulger. Nevertheless, there's a lot of information coming through, particularly a surprising number of people who were in the shopping centre who've been able to identify the two boys from the enhanced videos that we've shown. We've got some names coming through. Here's one I've just seen at random, a couple of you messing around with trolleys in one of the stores nearby, and after remonstrating with them, they ran off. So there's another witness there too, and we'll bring you more as we go through the evening. Now they're with brief appeals for help on cases all across the country at the incident desk, and as usual, here are Constable Jackie Hames and Superintendent David Hatcher.
First tonight on Incident Desk, we need your help to identify this man who sexually assaulted a motorist on Saturday the 7th of November. The 24-year-old woman was driving along the A323 near Guildford when her car overheated. She was looking under the bonnet of her white Vauxhall Astra when a man stopped and offered to help her. However, his kindness didn't last. He grabbed the woman and dragged her into bushes. She was knocked unconscious, and it was an hour and a half later before she managed to raise the alarm. The victim remembered her attacker was smartly dressed and wore a shiny dark quilted jacket. He was in his early 30s, around 6 foot, with a strong athletic build. Perhaps you saw him driving away in a dark-coloured car, possibly a Sierra or Granada. Remember, it was the A323 Aldershot Road on Saturday the 7th of November. If you can help, please call Guildford Police Station on 0483 31111. That's 0483, the code for Guildford, 31111.
This is Roxy's nightclub in Sheffield, and on Monday the 30th of November, it was the scene of an armed robbery. At about 6:30 in the morning, two men attacked a member of staff as she arrived for work. Threatening her with a gun, they forced her to hand over a large sum of money. The first man was white and about 28, 5'11" with short blonde hair. He was wearing a light-coloured jacket and dark trousers. The second man was black and about 5'7" with a stocky build. He was wearing a dark green balaclava and green parka jacket. 2 weeks after the attack, these cash bags were found abandoned about 5 miles away in Shire Green. If you can give any information, please call South Yorkshire Police on 0742 570 800. That's 0742, the code for Sheffield, 570 800.
And of course you can call us here in the studio direct on 081 811 8181. Our lines are open till midnight, 081 811 8181.
Tonight we seem to have a procession of crimes which are so mindless that not even hardened members of the underworld have any sympathy for the villains. Once again, in our next reconstruction, anyone who sees what happened, including the culprit's relatives, acquaintances or friends, will want to help make sure these men are caught. The events took place 10 weeks ago in Doncaster, early on the morning of Thursday, December the 3rd.
Hello? Sorry to trouble you, love, but do you think I could use your phone? Only mine's out of order.
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, you are a love. Dear, yours is dead as well.
Sierra 4 to Sheffield Control. Can I have a radio check, please?
Receiving loud and clear, over.
10-4, over and out.
Meanwhile, as the van set off for Doncaster, a motorist in Cantley was surprised to see men waiting by the roadside.
Those buggers are up to no good.
I noticed that the driver, in fact, turned away and covered his face with his hands, which again I thought was very suspicious.
Get down! Open the door! I said open the door!
after I was shot, there wasn't an awful lot to think about other than, you know, how fast the blood was pouring out.
I stopped to let the car go past, but as it was coming quite slowly, I realised I could cross the street in front of it. I turned back and saw that the car had stopped. A man jumped out of the back door with a ponytail. I thought this was a strange place for someone to be dropped off.
It was stocky, a bit of a beer belly on him. He was wearing a blue boiler suit and it was heavy-footed and it didn't run away very fast. It was more of like a jog.
Nor did he run far. He joined his partner in a white Montego.
I was waiting at the bus stop in Ellers Road. A white Montego flew past me, going at a crazy speed. I thought this was rather insane driving. And then looked towards Bawtry Road and couldn't understand why he had mounted the pavement.
Were you in that queue? Do you remember this? Then, by a coincidence, the woman in Bellevue who first noticed that the phones were cut was a witness to the fate of the Montego. The robbers probably ran to vehicles they'd parked nearby. A housewife saw a white Sherpa pickup, followed by a dark, maybe green hatchback car. From Bellevue, they had easy access to the motorways. From here, they could run to anywhere in Britain.
There are occasions after an injury such as this where the limb is salvageable. In this particular case, you can see from these lead pellets around the knee joint that the injury to the soft tissue was so catastrophic, leaving him in effect with a foot that had no blood supply, no nerve supply, no feeling, and a foot with no effective muscle to move it. And in this particular case, we were left with no option but to amputate.
There's only one kind of emotion that passes through your head, and that is the one that you will be incomplete. You won't be what you were before. But it's a very odd thing to look at, to see yourself with this odd-looking thing strapped onto you. I wouldn't know these people at all if I ever saw them again. And from the point of view of preventing someone else being hurt, these people need to be caught before some unfortunate person becomes hurt worse than I am.
And John, hope that is your fear, that somebody else is going to get hurt.
It is indeed. I'm very concerned that this gang will strike again, because I know for a fact that they've been responsible for a number of robberies across the Doncaster area. I'd like to say, Nick, that this was no accident. This was a deliberate shooting at both the guard on the floor and at the driver of the van. And I'm certain that there's someone out there who knows who is responsible, and I urge them to come forward before someone else is seriously injured or even worse.
Now, you think that this group is based, if not locally, somewhere at least in the north of England? I mean, they're not travelling down from Scotland or in from Wales. It's...
I tend to feel that they're based in the northern part of England.
Now, what... Those cars that were stolen, December the 1st, I think, they must have been kept somewhere till the 3rd of December.
That's right. They were hidden, obviously, for 2 days.